All right, what is going on, people? I'm Dylan Denmark. Wanted to hop on here real quick, give you a little Lane Kiffin update, Florida Tennessee preview. Not really much preview. I don't know how many people I say this. A lot of people have been saying this. Uh, how much do you really care about the game if you're a Gator fan against Tennessee and Florida State? Well, the game's a sellout crowd on Saturday. Urban Meyer's going to be back. He's going to get his plaque. He's going to get a salute. I will be there. Graham Marshall will be there. Graham does this thing. It's called work. He has a normal 9 to 5. That's why he's not able to join today. But I had a little bit of time today to tell you, give you an update on everything that's happened in the world, in the game from since the last time I spoke with you last Saturday after the Ole Miss loss and before we talked to you again after the Tennessee game, which is probably going to be, I don't know, around 11 o'clock. We're going to be at the game, so I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll figure that out then. For Florida, Tennessee's a 3.5 point favorite. Caleb Banks looks like he is going to play, and 20% of the roster for Florida is on the injury report. Cannot be. It can't get any worse. You would think, right? I mean, every list that comes out every Wednesday afternoon that I see from Graham Hall or Nick De La Torre, any of those guys that are on Twitter that follow the team, it seems like every time there's an injury report that comes out, someone's added to the list of who's not playing on Saturday. And I'm excited. Hopefully, Florida can win. We're going to be in the nosebleeds. We're going to be squinting with our eyes, as much as we can. We don't really care. I haven't been to a game this year in the Swamp. I was at the Florida-Georgia game with Graham. But I'm excited because I want to beat Tennessee again. Tennessee has not beaten Florida in Gainesville since 2003. So, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, Florida can win. Tennessee's a 3.5 point favorite. I think the line opened at Florida -1, if I'm not mistaken. That's on Hard Rock. So, we'll see. We just wanted to pop in here real quick and talk to people and say what's up. All right. Lane Kiffin. That's what everybody's been talking about. Since the last time we spoke, there was no update on what he's going to do. Since then, Ole Miss has said, hey, we need to know what's going on by the Egg Bowl. That's next Friday. Ole Miss does not play anybody this week. So you had that. Then he went on Pat McAfee's show. I can't remember if this was Monday or Tuesday. I'm talking to you this Thursday afternoon at 3:45. So heaven knows what can change in the next couple of hours with this whole saga. It seems like every day something new is coming out with Lane Kiffin in Florida. He goes on with McAfee. He says that's a complete lie. He's got a great relationship with the AD and him. They did, hot yoga and kumbaya and assalamu alaikum, whatever. Nothing was said. McAfee and the crew didn't say anything about Florida and LSU, whatever. Kind of figured that, kind of expected that. Did I watch? Yes, just like everybody else. Then he had the SEC teleconference. A lot of people were on it, and he kept being asked over and over again, what's your future like? Can you confirm the reports of you, going to LSU on Monday, being at Florida the other day? Do you have any comments on that? He said, no, I'm not talking about it. We got a game, yada, yada, yada. So no comment, coach speak, typical. Then yesterday, John Summerall removed his name, the Tulane coach, from the coaching search. And then it comes out a couple hours ago that Lane Kiffin's going to meet with the AD for Ole Miss Friday, which is going to be tomorrow, on his future. I think we'll know next Friday after the game what his future looks like. I don't think you're going to wait until Saturday, Sunday, and it's going to be this wedding game. I think we're going to know after the game. Someone's going to have some kind of information. It's going to get leaked from somewhere, or Lane Kiffin might just go on his Twitter machine and say, hey, I'm staying, or hey, I'm leaving Ole Miss. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to LSU, whatever the case is. I don't think Ole Miss is going to have him coach potentially the SEC championship, coach the playoff, and then leave. I think he's either going to be his last game is going to be next week, and he's either going to go to Florida, LSU, or wherever, or he's going to stay at Ole Miss and coach for them for the rest of the season. I don't see a situation where Lane Kiffin coaches the SEC title and then the postseason and then leaves to go to another program. The Ole Miss AD, I don't think he's going to want that. He's going to want clarity, and I think you're going to get it pretty soon. Again, next week, Ole Miss plays Mississippi State next Friday, the day after Thanksgiving at noon. So the game's going to be over around 3:30. And I would expect you to have a full understanding of what's going to happen. I think he's going to go to Florida. That's just me. That's not. I've been one with Lane Kiffin for over a year. I would have fired Napier last year. Didn't happen. I just think that if Lane Kiffin were to be at Ole Miss, he would have done it by now. There's been countless coaches where it's been Rhett Lashlee, Matt Rule. There's been other coaches that have signed extensions. Sarkisian, Desmond Howard the other day was like, don't be surprised if Texas becomes an open job at the end of the year. And then Sark immediately comes out the next day. He's like, nope, hey, I'm not going nowhere. I'm standing right here. And there's been a lot of talk on what he's going to do. The betting odds, Florida last week was minus 300 for Lane Kiffin to be the coach at Florida next year. On betonline.ag, those odds have been taken down. And you can't even bet that no more. And then this morning, LSU is now the betting favorite. Lane Kiffin's the betting favorite to be the coach at LSU, plus 300. So minus 300 is a significant more favorite than what LSU has right now, plus 300. And I think he's going to leave Ole Miss. I work at 1010XL. I'm a producer, so all I just hear everything, whether it be from when I do Rick Ballou's show in the afternoon, Hacker show at night. He had Matt Hayes on, National College Football writer for USA Today. Matt's in the know. Matt was one of the people the Tuesday before Napier got fired put out and said, hey, Napier can still probably get fired regardless of what happens. Over the weekend, the boosters have met, and there are a lot of people like, no, that's not what I heard, yada, yada, yada. Well, the game happened against Mississippi State, and he got fired. He's in the know. Matt Hayes believes that Lane Kiffin still doesn't know yet, that he doesn't know. He's torn between where he's going to be at. He said if he had to pick, he'd be at Florida next year, but he doesn't. I mean, that was yesterday at 8:30. No one knows. And I don't think anybody knows other than Lane Kiffin. But I just go back to, if he wanted to be at Ole Miss, he would have signed an extension and he would have done it by now. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are saying he's trying to milk this out. He's trying to get every dollar out of Ole Miss and use his leverage. We all knew that this was coming. Like, this point was coming to where you get to the end of the regular season, all these jobs were going to open up, and it was going to be that everybody was going to be clamoring for Lane Kiffin. The Ole Miss AD is smart enough to know that. Lane Kiffin's smart enough to know that. And all the ADs at Florida, LSU, Auburn, Penn State, wherever, knew that this was going to come. So if you wanted to be at Ole Miss, you would have done it by now. Everybody else has done it. And another thing, too, I heard Dan Hicken talk about this on Swamp Sessions after the game, Saturday night after the Florida Ole Miss game. I mean, the Florida Ole Miss game, Florida's terrible. They haven't played good all year. Other than the Texas game, that was really a Dallas Wilson breakout game. If Dallas Wilson doesn't play, I don't think Florida wins that game. Outside of that, Florida has not played well against a good team. They played well against Georgia coming off a bye. And your defense is depleted. And this is supposed to be Ole Miss's best team they've ever had. I know they were talented last year. They had a lot of guys get drafted. But this seems like a better team this year for some reason. And Florida took them on the ropes. That's pretty telling. That's pretty bad. That a 3-1 Florida team that is not good in any way, form, or fashion, and he took that best Ole Miss team on the ropes, and an Ole Miss team that knew they got to win this game. Tickets were almost like $300 a ticket. It was a sellout crowd, and all that. And also another thing after the game that I don't think has been talked about a lot. Somebody on Ole Miss, one of their reporters after the game, the post-game press conference for Kiffin after they beat Florida, he was like, talk about the fans and how much of an atmosphere it was and all that. And Lane very subtly goes, well, did you see how they were against the Citadel the week before? And it was just like a shot. Like, if Lane Kiffin's coming back next year, I don't think you take that kind of shot. That's just me. Let's see. Have you seen the rumors that Florida is out of the race for Lane Kiffin? Though? No, I've not seen that whatsoever. Um, no, I have not seen anything from that. I think the boosters are the ones that are running the show for Florida. They're the ones that want Lane Kiffin. I don't think really, Scott Strickland is meeting with him, but I think the boosters are running the show. They're the ones that have been wanting him. They want the best candidate, and I think we'll know next Friday afternoon, and we'll see. Maybe more news will come out tomorrow after the meeting with Ole Miss and the AD, because this story has only been reported. I saw this tweeted out. Let's see, from Matt Moscona, and this was from LouisianaSports.net, and it says they're scheduled to meet Friday to discuss the coach's future with the Rebels football program. Multiple sources have confirmed to LouisianaSports.net. Ole Miss is on a bye. He's seeking clarity. So apparently, one of the Ole Miss, is it Brad Logan? One of the people they were on with Hacker on Monday, and he said that the Ole Miss AD is not going to let this become a circus to where you're going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting days and weeks and not have clarity on what's going to happen. Either Lane's going to make a decision that they Egg Bowl and say, "Hey, I'm returning at Ole Miss. I'm signing an extension," or "I'm leaving and I'm not coming back." And it wouldn't surprise me if he leaves to Florida or LSU and he's at the game for Florida or LSU on that Saturday. I mean, it sucks for the kids at Ole Miss. There is an outside shot for them to make the SEC title. They would obviously have to beat Mississippi State. They would also need Texas A&M and Alabama to lose. That's for Alabama to lose. That's going to be an uphill putt. And then Texas A&M is playing Texas. So those might be two close games, but for both of them to lose seems like it's very tough. If it were to happen, obviously you wouldn't know until Saturday afternoon, until all the games are over. So that's a quick little preview. I'll be at the game Saturday. Graham and I, if you see us, come holler. At some point, we'll give you a post game and tell you everything that's went down, and maybe we'll have a Lane Kiffin update on what happened with allegedly the meeting that's going to go down between the AD and him. So before we sign off, remember, like and subscribe. Trying to get our viewership up. Trying to get it to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at 1010XL Denmark and at Graham Marsh 904. Graham talks too much. This was so good. Talking 12 minutes. I really don't like Graham, but Graham, a lot of people like Graham for some reason. I really don't care for him. This may or may not be jokes, but